Hey, what's going on everyone? This is going to be the Deimos episode. I will say, if you are MR3, I do recommend that you take a look and decide to choose which standing you're going to pledge with. Me personally, I think I'm going to pledge with Arbiters of Hexus. The reason this is because they happen to have mods that I want, alongside being aligned with Suda, who has even more mods that I want. So, that's the reason why I'm going to choose this faction. I think you should go to each faction, look at the mods that they have to offer, or visit the Warframe wiki and see what frames you like and what mods that are offered from these factions, so you can just get those mods as soon as possible. Of course, you could trade for these mods that affect your Warframes. However, I think it would be more convenient if you just had the faction that give you the mods that you want, rather than choose a faction and then trade for mods later. So I did show you in the last video some loadouts that I'm using, but in case you missed that video or you didn't watch all the way to the end, I'm going to go over what I'm using. For your Warframe, do whatever you feel is best. Me personally, I gave myself a lot of shield because having a lot of shield regenerating is better than trying to build in health at the moment, since I don't have anything that can give me health orbs reliably. I have a lot of stretch, I have equilibrium just to help with health orbs and energy orbs, because I do tend to get more energy orbs than I do health orbs. I have 2 mods that help with my shield decay. This one also double dibs in another set. More shield, less energy cost for my abilities, and a bit of strength. Voltor, this is a pretty powerful weapon. I modded it for gas and electricity. The reason why I'm doing gas is because gas is pretty efficient against the enemies that we will be facing. On top of that, Furus is using Blast, which is also efficient to get the enemies that we're facing. If I do get an electric proc, this will stun enemies temporarily, which is why I have it. And I'm not going for a status build on my melee. What I'm doing is I'm building to crit chance and crit. So when I hit at targets, they take big damage. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of talking through the first cutscene and a little bit of the first mission itself. So in the previous videos, I haven't really talked about it, but I do want to mention it now. In the Heart of Deimos and Fortuna and Cetus, there are these secondary vendors that you cannot interact with until you reach another quest checkpoint. And I haven't mentioned them because it hasn't been important yet, but I do want to mention it now, just in case. So to progress to this new quest that you need to reach, it is called the War Within. You need to do Heart of Deimos. So we're required to do this regardless if I can show you the entirety of Deimos, which is, this is a little bit of a feedback point. Something that is going to be a little bit confusing is you won't be able to interact with certain vendors that are important for something you unlock on Deimos. This thing that you unlock on Deimos is a necromech. There are these missions called isolation vaults, which is probably the best way to farm out necromechs. However, you're unable to fully complete an isolation vault, which is doing the bonus objectives, without your operator. Now, you could have someone else use their operator. However, this series is supposed to teach self-efficiency within the game. You are allowed to play with other players, I should let that be known. However, it is a bit strange that you cannot interact with the full planet, even though it's a requirement to interact with the planet. You are able to complete the quest in general. However, it should be noted that your previous planets, there is still more content for you to interact with. With that being said, a part of your homework will be interacting with the base planets themselves. I'm not going to assign a specific rank, but if you can get as high as possible, I think that is for the better. Starting this now will help you later on in the game, so you might as well do it. A great way to farm reputation I'll show at the end of this video for each planet. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this quest. It should be pretty self-explanatory. They made this quest a lot easier because it is now a new player quest. It used to be a sort of end to mid game area, so things have changed around for your convenience. Hope you enjoy the quest. Up next is going to be explaining what every vendor does on this planet, so you understand what you can do on Deimos for now. Alrighty, so you finish Heart of Deimos. I want to explain this planetary vendor system a bit more in depth than every other one that we've done so far. While Cetus and Fortuna do have a lot to offer, I don't think they're as important early on as Deimos can be. Deimos can be a huge source of power, so you want to take advantage as much as you can. Start off with Mother. Mother will act as our bounty hub, and like other vendors, she offers reputation. However, she does it in a unique way. She offers you Mother tokens. Mother tokens can be saved and don't necessarily need to be consumed as soon as you get them. So you can actually pre-farm rep every day with Mother. It's something that I like to do personally. For example, this one bounty right here has unlimited farming. So if you keep farming this, you get extra tokens, so you can pre-farm Mother days in advance. And like the other locations, there are set mods that can be found within Mother. These mods can be very powerful. See how all these give you armor and health, so you can take advantage of it if you're on a more tanky frame that needs that. These are all very nice mods to have. Daughter is going to be your fishing vendor. Like the other planets, there's still fishing here. You can turn in certain fish parts for sister tokens. Or not sister, daughter. My bad, I've been calling her sister. Her name is Daughter. So you can turn in these fish materials for daughter tokens. These are tokens that are specific to her. And with reputation, you can buy more things from her. Sun is an insane vendor. And I'm not kidding when I say that. He has 2 types of organic pets that you can get. A Predacite and a Vulpaphyla. A Vulpaphyla is probably what you're going to want to go after. Especially one that is a Panzer. Once we get a bit more into this location, I'll go over what a Panzer Vulpaphyla can do for you and why you want to get it. When you capture wildlife, you can turn in their tags for Sun tokens. And like other vendors, he has an entire list of many things you can get. Father is like the gunsmith of the area. He has a lot to offer you in terms of weaponry and power. If you turn in planetary materials, you can get Father tokens. For example, I can actually get 2 Father tokens right now. And so I'm going to pick these up, because I may need them later. You can also build kit guns with them. You may not have the materials to make a kit gun, however, you can make some nasty stuff here. This right here happens to be one of my favorite kit guns, I believe. I don't remember if this is the exact 1-to-1 pieces that I use on mine, but this can be pretty nuts. Here, you're also able to get damaged necromech parts. This can be a great way to get them without going into the vaults themselves. So if you need to make a necromech, this is who you're going to want to talk to get some damaged parts if you don't want to go into the necromech vaults. He also has some great mods for some prime weapons to boost up their damage. And some of these weapons actually have incarnons, the Soma and Paris to be exact. Scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to see that Lavos is available via Father, alongside his signature weapon. So if you're interested in getting that, you're going to have to level up all the way to family rank inside of Deimos. Otak is our final vendor here. Well, second to last vendor. Otak is able to deal with all your mining expedition stuff. So if you have any materials, you can come back and turn it into him for tokens. He also has wares of his own, but they're all related to mining and turning your mining materials into crafting materials. A secondary use is also Citrine's missions. Citrine's mission is on a different location on Mars, which is unlocked after completing the Heart of Deimos. This is the pity system in which you can get Citrine's parts, though it is not something that is required, and quite honestly, this is a bit of a tough Warframe to farm out, so I don't recommend that you set your sights on this. However, I will say Citrine is one of the strongest Warframes in the game, so if that sounds enticing to you, maybe I'll take a look at Citrine for you. She also has a great amount of augments that you can trade in if you don't want to farm her yourself, Arcane Steadfast being one of the very powerful ones. Secondary Encumber is popular for a certain type of build, but that's not important until later on in the game. Finally, we have Grandmother. Grandmother is where you exchange your family tokens. You can turn in all different sort of tokens to be able to get Grandmother tokens. You can then use your Grandmother tokens to buy a variety of cosmetics within the Heart of Deimos. Also, you can buy this thing right here, which is used for a very unique item that I won't give too many spoilers on. Lastly, if you want to turn in your rep, this is who you're going to turn in your rep to. Grandmother accepts all forms of tokens, her token being the most favorable of them all. Every other family member's token is worth 100, while her token is worth 1.5k. If you can find a way to trade in tokens for a cheap price, for example, turning in 10 mother tokens is worth it, as 10 mother tokens only give you 1k experience, while a 1 grandmother token is 1.5k experience. So you might have to do some maths to see if it's worth turning in for you. Daughter token, that's worth it. Son token, that's definitely worth it. Son and father token, definitely worth the price. Another, still worth the price. This one, definitely worth the price, but it is pricey as well to get all of these tokens. Returning back to Mother, there's a type of bounty that I haven't talked about. Isolation vaults. Sadly, if you're not MR5, you're not able to access this, so you won't need to worry about it. However, let's say you do get access to this. Isolation vaults are these little events in which you go, open up a vault, and you try to clean it out. The higher tier vaults, best rewards you can get. I do recommend if you do isolation vaults, you do this one, but be prepared. This is a tough mission very early on. If you're not built for it, I do recommend that you play it with other people. Surely you'll probably get carried by others. If not, you'll have a ton of people that are able to fight these necromechs together, so it shouldn't be as much of an issue as it would be solo. You can see you can get some pretty rare things alongside necromech mods. You can get the Sporefix blueprints, which happens to be one of my favorite weapons, and you can get weapon parts for the Sporefix. This is a pretty solid weapon. If you can get it early on, I would recommend that you use it. But it is locked behind MR13, so it may be a while until you can use it. There is another vendor behind this glass wall. However, you're not able to access it unless you have access to a character that isn't available right now. There's other places on Cetus and Fortuna that require this character, so once it happens, I'll explain what you can do with it, and I'll dedicate a whole video to that character themselves. But for now, let's go back to Deimos and some little activities you can do on the open world alongside your bounties. Outside of bounties, there's plenty that you can do on Deimos. If you look on your map, you can see that there's a lot of caves to explore. In all these caves, you can find a ton of mining materials that are used to make a lot of the Deimos themed items, alongside some things that are used outside of Deimos. On top of that, if you do some exploration, you can find some towers in which you interact with them via a special interaction that you unlock after you do the quest, The War Within. Heart of Deimos is supposed to be done after that quest, so while you can do it early on, I do recommend that you do return to this location more so after you do The War Within. The main goal of this area should be doing bounties as you start out. Farming out reputation a bit early can help you when you need to actually be here later on in the game. So that's what I do recommend when it comes to your Deimos grind. Just do bounties. And if you get to MR5, maybe try out some isolation vaults. But until then, bounties is going to be your main goal. Farming out the mods is ideal. Everything that you've seen so far was filmed in the previous day. So this is a new day. I'm still MR3. I can't go up in Mastery, if you're wondering when that is. I'll be able to do that later. However, we're going to talk about what we can be doing between this episode and, I guess, episode 5. Because I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler. Episode 4 is going to be us just doing a whole bunch of homework, essentially. We have to go back to Phobos so we can get all of these nodes done. We're going to want to go to the Void, get all those nodes that we can do, these 3 specifically. We're going to go to, since we're MR3, we can go to Ceres, do all these missions, and we're also going to go to Jupiter. And we're going to try to make our way. See, we can already, once you get here, you can actually already do the Saturn Junction. We're just going to do a lot of content up until a specific area on Uranus. We're going to stop probably at Saturn, maybe Europa and the Void. So that's going to be a lot of the content that you can do between this part, all of episode 4, and then episode 5 will be based on a lot of quests that come out back to back. I mentioned earlier that there are rep farms that you can do on every planet, so I want to cover those rep farms so you can do those in the background of all of these episodes. I do think you should try to build up your rank. I'm not going to give you a specific rank, however, if you do want a specific rank, let's get to rank 3 for all of them. You can't do that in one day, obviously, you're not high enough level to do that, but I think you should make that a goal of yours to do. So we're going to go to Fortuna, and then I'm going to show you Cetus, and let me tell you, both their reputation farms are pretty similar. Alrighty, once you get to Fortuna, what you're going to want to do, hop on your Arcwing launcher. Up next, equip a trank rifle. If you don't have one of these yet, you can get it from the business for 500 reputation, or you can get it from Sun for the same amount. They do the same thing regardless of who you buy it from, so that's all you need to do. Up next is now we just look for animals. This is a pretty easy way to farm reputation on these locations. If you aim down your weapon, you can get pings on a nearby animal. For example, this guy right here. Just gonna want to shoot him. Eventually he'll pass out. If not, you're gonna have to shoot him in a spot which is better for him falling asleep. I believe this guy's a bit of an armored one, so you do need to hit a soft spot, like here. You just go up to the animal and pick it up. And right there, I just got 750 reputation, so it's a pretty easy farm to do. Alrighty, we're on Cetus. Like Fortuna, we're gonna be using our Arcwing and a trank rifle to farm down pets. These little guys are worth a lot of reputation. These little guys don't really give you too much, however, they do stack up pretty fast. 1,000 rep just for flying above someone and shooting 3 little darts at them is pretty easy. If you want to do it via the bounties, which does give you more rewards, do it that way. But if you're just looking for reputation, then just do the little hunting that I showed you. Pretty easy and doesn't require much out of you. Now for me personally, I need to do some spy catchers, and the reason why I need to do spy catcher is so I can get a Cetus Wisp. Also, it happens to have a mod that I really like, Augur Secrets. Alrighty, so that's going to be the end of today's video. Like I said, episode 4 is going to be a bit of a intermission episode, and I'm going to be live streaming it, so a lot of the clips and footage in that is going to be me responding to some questions about the game and possibly showing some fun interactions that you can do early on into the game. That being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Hold on, peep my speed excal. Alright. Yeah, let me see this. My god. Oh my god. That's insane. Y'all, what?
Oh, I'm blind. I'm blind.
It's twin.
It's twin.